everybody. Welcome back to 5-Minute Gaming News, the show that is still here. Another week went by. We're still doing it. It's a thing. Today in the news, if you have had any interest in the new Steam Deck, but have yet to pull the trigger, Valve has something interesting to entice you with. Aperture Desk Job is a playable short designed for Steam Deck that's being described as a reimagining of the walking sim. Essentially, it's a sneaky way to both give players another entry into the Portalverse and walk players through the controls and features of the Steam Deck. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get it on PC in the Steam client itself, but the game is designed to be played without the use of mouse and keyboard. Now, does this mean we'll see any true Portal games in the future? I wouldn't bet on it, but it is nice to know that they're still thinking about that world. So, fingers crossed, maybe we'll get something eventually. Next in the news, in case you weren't aware, I hear Elden Ring is out. So, that's pretty big news. Although that's not what I'm talking about today. Apparently, the game is not without its issues, especially on PC. If my Twitter timeline and this article are any indication, if you've decided to play the game on PC, you're not having the greatest time of it. For a game the critics and reviewers are calling one of the best of all time, the game is running pretty terribly on PC. Even with its day one patch, frame rate drops, stuttering, crashes. The footage of all these issues, like this one from my boy Carnage, is shocking.
Oh, come on, dude!
You can understand why someone would be frustrated with a game that's all about timing rolls and dodges and already purposefully hard doing stuff like this. Meanwhile, console players are having a grand old time. I was watching Octo play last night. He moved from PC to console, loving it. Looked great. He was having a great time. Made me even more excited to play. So I'll simply say if you're waiting for PC or you are currently playing on PC, let's hope they get it patched this weekend and you can actually, keep playing. Next up in the news, 11-Bit Studios, the publishers behind games like Children of Morta, Frostpunk, Moonlighter, and more importantly, This War of Mine, a game about civilians in a war zone. Well, they have announced, due to the critical timing, that for the next week, they are giving all profits from This War of Mine to the Ukrainian Red Cross to support victims of the war in Ukraine, which I think is a very noble and good thing to do. Just for clarity's sake, if you want to buy the game on Steam and add it to your library, that is very cool. But just a Jesse who produces games note, Steam does take a cut of the money. So profits will be less than what they would be on, say, GOG, which is down to give all the money spent on the game to the Red Cross. So I'm not saying you should definitely buy it on GOG, but lastly in the news today, Guild Wars 2 has a new expansion coming out next week, End of Dragons. And if you're like me and you absolutely forgot what most of the story was up until this point, they've released a short video explaining the general plot of the game up until now. It doesn't get too bogged down in details, and if you're interested, it'll catch you up on where the game is before you jump back in on the 28th. Anyway, that's it for the news today. Thank you so much for all the comments and the likes and the subscriptions and the bells and the ding-dongs and the whizzers and the who-dads. All the YouTube stuff. It means the world to me. Equally important to that is everyone over at patreon.com/JesseCox. Thank you for making it so I don't have to worry about the doodads and the wizards and the widgets and the who's a what's-its. Especially Michael Beauchamp, Daniel Salas, and Irda Benga. Or Benj? I think Benga sounds cooler. Anyway, that's it for 5-Minute Gaming News. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on Monday.